I'm proud of myself also. So right now I'm at a stage I'm basically celebrating me,
Okay.
for this journey I'm getting ready to embark upon. I'm really looking forward to it. When I saw him, it was like, I mean, he just captivated me. It was love at first sight for me. We started talking, which eventually led into one child.
You can't force
Yeah.
people into actions. You can't force people into behavior. And yes, you can always extend an olive branch, but keeping certain doors open and reaching it out sometimes is hindering yourself because it can open you up. I mean, you gotta do what God tell you to do. But I know for me, some things can open you up for rejection.
Hey everyone, it's Lastar Shante. I'm led by faith, covered by grace. This is Doing My Best.
Okay, so I want to get into our next question. If you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently when it comes to parenting?
Um, First of all, I think based on what I have done, and like you said, it was learning. It was learning how to become a parent. Now that I'm a parent, and so if I look back on my past, I think what I would have done differently as first of all would been the savings. Make sure I
Okay.
had opened up a savings account for you all. So just think if I had started putting $20, $30, making sure I had good insurance on you all and a savings account. That is crucial
Yeah.
to me. I didn't know no better, and I had the money at the time when I was working a lot of overtime in the job. So that's a priority. You need to set up a checking account, not a checking account, a savings account for your children.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And also, I think I would expose you all more into like for Christmas instead of buying you gifts, maybe taking trips somewhere like to the museums or somewhere that's it's about learning. And I think also this is kind of funny, but I wish I had done this as a when you all was little. Instead of buying furniture, nice furniture and stuff like that, to try to make the house look presentable, I think I would have had my house set up like now that I know, now look back, as an educational home. Have like maps on the wall, the world, the seven continent, talk about the solar system. Um, Although you wouldn't be in class per se, but it'd be a conversation, and just making sure that you know about history, government at home, making sure that although the teachers those subjects are taught at school, but
Yeah.
sometimes I think they are overlooked. And I think my house would have been a piano, a science room, even a gym in there. So although you at home, you still in a learning environment.
Yeah.
You seeing,
That's very dope.
just putting material up in the house and making sure that okay, not only you getting an education at school, but here it's fun, but you love learning. It's a continuous thing because you're having fun at it.
Yeah.
You would be having fun. Wouldn't be like, oh, mom, I don't want to know the name, the 10 first president of the United States. It would be something because you were being used to it, being like used to doing it,
Yeah.
and then it become a routine and be fun. So then your mind probably be more exposed to um, things out in society.
Yeah.
You know.
And I remember, I feel like you did that maybe unintentionally. You still, well, it probably was intentional. Although our house might not have been set up like that, I do remember you making us watch Roots and learn the black, the black national anthem, and all those things that we weren't taught in school. Honestly, I know I learned that through you. So when it came to like African American history and the progression of that and how that looked, especially you talking about the transatlantic slave trade and all those things leading up. I felt like you taught us a lot about that. So I can see why that is something you would have done differently as far as the home, but you still did it by taking us to the libraries and making us watch those things that we weren't exposed to in school when it came to history.
Because those type of things to me give you a conscious. It gives you a conscious. And Roots was just one of my movies that I constantly just couldn't get enough of.
Yeah.
I was so, and I wanted y'all to see it wasn't. You can't change the past, but you have to know what happened in the past so you could prevent it happening in the future. Or it's just. But nowadays, kids that I see, they don't do that. They don't look at movies like that that has an impact on you. You know, they don't know it's
Yeah.
Hey y'all, so I had to interrupt to see if you got your copy of Taking Back My Pen yet. This is my very first book I wrote back in 2023 when I was going through separation and divorce. When I tell y'all, this book literally saved my life. This is a lot of answered prayers, a lot of strategies from God, and it has so many great tools to get you through any transition in life. This is all about partnering with God to become the author of your narrative, not allowing anything to define you but the Holy Spirit. So, if you have not already got your copy, get yours today. I'm telling you, it is life changing. You can find the link in the comments below, or you can go to my website, which will also be in the comments in this video. All right, let's get back.
I
okay.
get it, but I'm just saying I do remember that from our past of learning a lot of things
Okay.
that we were not taught in school, and so when you look back on your journey as a single mom, what are you most proud of?
Um, that's a hard question. I'm proud of you all. I will say that because I raised three girls that has three different personalities, and one thing I will say this: what I'm proud of, how headstrong you all are. You especially, y'all not easily to influence, as far as I'm concerned. Um, you make conscious decisions when you get involved in what you get involved in. Um, I'm proud of that. Speaking up for yourself, knowing your rights, and not. I don't really see too much disrespect coming from you all per se towards people, other people. Um, and with me, how can I say that? But anyway, overall, I'm just proud of my girls. I think y'all are doing an outstanding job. When it comes to my grandchildren, they my heart. Um, I just would love to see. Uh, I'm proud, but can I just say this without offending anyone? I just would like to see a little bit more closeness, like taking a family vacation. I've been trying to do that. Let's go somewhere, go get an Airbnb, and I instead of giving out Christmas gift, I would like to see us go places at least once a year as all the grandchildren, my girls. We just hang out.
Yeah.
I think that keeps you grounded far as the closeness and engaging and knowing what's going on with one another. But people, but I'm very proud, of the way you all turn out and I'm glad to see that you all are close. Y'all communicate
Yeah.
because you got siblings and don't talk to one another, haven't seen one another for years. So I like to see that how you all engage in getting together. I would like to see it more often, though, but especially with all your nieces and nephews that you have. Even in with your aunts and uncles, you just got the family. To me, is the most important thing, and I think I did a pretty good job with raising y'all to reach out to one another,
Okay.
and so and the proudest moment too. I would say this: I didn't give up. I am so excited about when I look back. I gave it 100%. I always keep it real. Um, I'm always like, just calling here and there, texting or sending you. So I'm just proud of the moment that we all. I would like to sister be the only thing I know this is kind of contradicting itself. I would just like to get with the family a little bit more often.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but that's I think just I raised three headstrong girls.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Y'all achievements, accomplishment, and you know, just really proud.
Yeah. I definitely know, and I can speak for them because we've had these conversations, but I know we all contribute, just our ability to prosper, I guess. I mean, of course it's God, but a big part of that is you too because of the things that we had foundationally as young children. And I know that's one thing we do accredit because, again, like we talked about before, people don't have to raise kids. Like, and again, it's no knock. Everybody has a struggle, and it's a job that is not like you go to work, you clock in, you get a paycheck. But with raising a kid, I feel like it's a job that's not. I don't know how can I explain it. It doesn't get like the recognition it deserves, and so sometimes it's like this job that, I mean, of course you're not doing it to hear you did a good job, but for me, I'm saying you did a good job in raising us, and just to see like how my sisters are doing and how they do in their own parenting, I think it's just nice. And we're not, I mean, we're close, proximity, she don't live here, so proximity wise we're not as close, but as far as relationship we're pretty close, and I think that does come from us being raised in the way that we were, even though as kids of course you fight and all that stuff, but you lay the foundation, just like you were saying, go to church, because when you get older you go back to those things. And so yeah, I think
Yeah.
that definitely helped build our relationship as siblings. One of the things for me as a mom, and what I'm proud of, I mean, I know actually, but I'm gonna answer too. One of the things that I'm proud of is the fact that I show Trey my vulnerability. Like, I show him my emotions. I talk to him about his emotions. That's one of the things that's important to me, because I feel like we're having this talk now, but like I said when we started, these are conversations you didn't necessarily have at the dinner table. Like when you walk through divorce and raising us as a single parent, it wasn't a conversation around that. It was just kind of like survival mode, and I'm doing what I can, and we have to adjust to it. And so, and that's nothing wrong with that, because that's how you did it. But for me, because I was your child and now I'm a single parent, I'm proud that I can take something and say, I get it, because I was in that mindset for a little bit too, of just trying to make it work, not really communicating, everybody trying to figure it out. But then it changed where I was like, you know what, I want to bring him into my emotions. That way, one, I can get them out. Of course, I'm not dumping on him like he a therapist or my friend, but if he sees me sad, I can say, yes, I'm a little sad today because we're going through a divorce and this is hard. And now his language is, oh, you and dad was married, y'all got divorced, I know that, y'all live in, like, he talks about it, but he's not sad about it. Yes, he says it would be easier for us to live in the same home, but he gets it for a 9-year-old, and it's not a foreign topic. So I think that's one of the things that I did take from my upbringing, and I was intentional about instilling in him, not knowing I was going to be a single parent, but because that's been a part of my journey thus far, I'm glad I was able to take something and do it a little different for my child. And I feel like that's how it should be with generations.
Well, since you said that, I just didn't really think about sharing something that was so hurtful
Yeah.
for me with my children. Because I felt like I didn't want you to feel sad, or and I didn't want to express that to you all. But for what you just said, how you did it with Trey, you let Trey come in at an early age about your grief and everything that you're experiencing, and now, since it's such a daily conversation, or a conversation occurred quite often, sounds like it, and Trey now, I like that. I really like what you just said about how you're doing with Trey. But at first, when you just first started talking, I'm like, he was too young. I felt like I didn't know you was doing that with your child, number one. And I felt like he was too young for him to know about your personal issue with his dad and you. But now, from what you say, he said, okay, now he said happy, he could accept that. I have to take a look at something like that, because I did not relate anything to you all when it was coming to with your dad. So, y'all didn't know what was going on, and I was really having a difficult time because, I just couldn't believe my marriage was over.
Yeah, yeah, and I understand.
So, I commend you doing that.
Yeah.
It's something that I would have to think about. But from what I just heard, I like the idea of the way you're doing that. Maybe more parents need to, instead of just holding all that sadness and frustration and confusion in their heart, and if your child could comprehend, feed them slowly with that. And so 5 years later, okay, mom, we're gonna be all right. We know, so they're aware. Like with me, I was silent. I was just like, because I work so much,
Yeah.
and then I didn't really have the time to sit down and talk with you all about anything. But just make sure you do the right thing in life,
Yeah.
and kept you in church and moving on. So,
Yeah.
but I like what you just said about Trey. So,
Yeah.
something to think about.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the difference in like generations too. So
Yes.
you were raised how you were raised, and I was raised how I was raised, and then you decide what you want to take into your future. And so I know, and it's things that we can learn from different generations, because I know now having conversations with Trey, I feel like I get the whole do as I say, and not as I do. I understand that concept, because sometimes, because kids' minds, they're trying to figure out everything, and sometimes that comes off as disrespectful, or you're back talking, or you got questions, you have this. And I think it's a time and place for everything. So yes, we can answer the questions our children have, but at the end of the day, we're still their parents. And I think our generation, I'm talking about millennial down, can work on not trying to explain every single thing and every single detail to a child that has a child mind that can't even comprehend long-term thinking. I think sometimes we want to be so aware and pour into our kids, which is fine, but we still have to understand that you're still the parent and you're still the child, and I'm telling you this for a reason, because my job is to protect you, raise you, and discipline you. Of course, love you, all those things, but if I'm telling you something for a reason, that's the final word. And so that's one of the things that we grew up as, and we really, I mean, we could ask questions, but it wasn't, won't really a wise because I said so. That was kind of like the parenting instruction.
I think during that time, when you all was coming up, I was in my head, I was traumatized. I was depressed. I didn't want you all to see that. But, many nights I cried.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't want to share that. I didn't want y'all to see my sadness.
Yeah.
But
because you thought we were going to be sad. Why didn't you want us to see your sadness?
Yeah, exactly. I thought maybe you are going to be sad, and I didn't. I just want you to see your mom as an uplifting person. Because our household people, everybody used to come over. That's why I let you have your company, and y'all did a lot of things at home. I think your upbringing, as far as your friends, that was important too. To surround yourself with people, and and I have let some of your friends and move in.
Yeah.
I want to say Schaefer. I love her to death. Schaefer's like my daughter.
Hey, Schaefer.
Hey Schaefer, I gotta shout you out, girl, because you are a wonderful daughter. I'm gonna say you are a wonderful daughter. Although you got a different mama, and I love you too, Pat. But I would like to say, they was, because she came in, and so having that impact and just helping people out when I was going through something made me feel good too. Because at that time a lot of people was experiencing single, being a single mom.
Yeah, it wasn't not uncommon.
It was very common.
Yeah,
being
it
a
was
single
common.
mom.
Yeah,
So
in that time.
we just kept moving, made it work, and and like I said, once again, I don't, I'm not going to tell you to stay with somebody for the children. I'm not going to tell you to stay with, you have to do things for yourself as an individual, but don't try to be prejudiced in a way to say. That's why I really never discuss anything about your dad, because he did what he had to do, and I accepted that. But the only little downfall was that you still alive, and so. But
yeah, I mean, and I think that's fair. I think
get to know your kids and it's never too late. It is never too late to bond with someone.
Yeah,
especially your family. And
no, it's
so
not.
the single motherhood, the single motherhood. I wouldn't want to wish that on nobody, especially if you're in love with a person. But you got to cope and deal and move on.
Yeah,
and
moving on
don't
is
have
essential.
self pity parties, and just believe in yourself. As long as you're making sound decisions for your family, and it's going to work itself out.
Yeah,
it will work itself out. And keep it moving. Don't get out when you feel sad and depressed. Get out that bed or do something with the kids. Move. You got to keep acting.
Yes, you do. You should move, but you should also deal with your feelings. Because I think sometimes people do that and they keep moving. And if you're having a pity party, I'm not saying you should have a whole summer festival of pity party. But
Years
if you
of
have
it.
a if you have a pity party for a day, you that's what you have, because one, life is it has a lot of challenges. Life is good, but it's also a lot of challenges, especially as an adult. So I think it's okay to have feelings of sadness. But again, like you said, don't stay there. Get
Right.
help, seek
Get,
therapy,
yes.
connect with your community, especially for single
Your
moms,
church.
connecting with
Yeah.
other single
With
moms,
community.
and
Yeah.
you know, just people that have been where you are now. I think that's really important. That's one of the things that helped me. And of course, having your relationship with God. Like, you have to have your own personal relationship with God. There's some things that I had to do when I was navigating first becoming a single parent that the women around me did not understand. Like, you know, because every journey is different. It might not look like,
You
oh,
say I didn't understand?
I said the women. I didn't say you, Mom.
Oh, okay.
So it might not look, my journey might not look like your journey. Like, a lot of, like you talked about, single parenthood didn't involve your dad. So they were raising kids on their own. Me being a single parent still involved my child's father, and trying to figure out how to co-parent in a way that I hadn't really seen modeled, you know? And so it was those things where I had to really lean on the Holy Spirit to say, how do I do this? Because I'm used to, I know single moms, but they're usually in charge of everything for their kids. I'm still sharing these things with a person that I'm not really even getting along with right now. So again, every journey is different. I just say that to say you have to, yes, pull on your community, but that's why it's so important to have your own individual relationship with God, because we all go through our own journeys, and nobody can go through your journey for you. So man, that's what I'm saying. So I think this is a good conversation to have. Again, we never really sat down. Even becoming a mom, I remember one of the things that you told me when I first had Trey was like, "Oh, you're not gonna sleep no more," and I'm like, "Okay." And you was like, "Not because you're not gonna be tired. It's because your brain changes when you have a child. Like, you're gonna be thinking about him, and you're gonna be, you know, trying to figure it out." And I held on to that thought, and I like these conversations because I feel like growing up we never really sat down and had conversations about womanhood and becoming a mom or being a wife. Like, we didn't really have those intentional conversations.
Now I would
So,
agree with you on that, and I do look back and have regrets about that because, yes, we didn't sit down and how. I guess I was just kind of naive as to sit with my girls and talk about how to become a woman, or not say become a woman, but just give you some guidance and some insight, you know, about that and what to look for. So I do regret that because we really never had, you know, I guess that's learned behavior because my mom never had that type of conversation with us.
yeah.
So, you know, just to, yeah, we lack that.
Yeah.
I will agree.
And I think a lot of families do, not just us.
Yeah, interacting about our emotions and our feelings and sitting back. It was just like I was just go, 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 and working. And you know, I remember coming home, just seeing y'all happy because you have friends over and having cookouts and little things. I felt like that was enough. But yeah, I do regret about talking about the facts of life.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't do that at all. You're absolutely right.
I mean, you did it in your own way. You talked at us like, don't do that. But I mean, that I think that's a lot of families, and it's not to say that it was wrong. It was just something that didn't happen. So
yeah,
so, yeah.
I do encourage more families, especially single mothers, engage in conversation with their children.
Yeah.
And I really did. I can honestly say, because I think about that a lot. I said, man, we should have had the birds and the bees talk. We should have done.
Yeah, I learned about them birds and bees.
We didn't
from
do
somewhere.
any of that. I'm like, wow, they really grew up being naive when it comes to relationships.
I mean,
Yeah, so.
But like you said, that wasn't your norm, so
it wasn't my
sense.
norm to talk about, you know, getting married, how to consummate, how to whatever about a marriage. So, or what to look out for, or you know, just give you some guidance. I did not do that at all. I was really bad at that. I tuned all that out. Not because I wanted to. I just didn't feel like there was enough time to have a personal conversation about being an adult.
Yeah.
And being in a relationship. you know. And what, so I do.
I get that, but that's okay. We figuring it out, and like you said before, you can pick up anywhere, and so even having this conversation now is the start of hopefully having more conversations about just life.
You got a busy schedule.
And not at me about other stuff, the past, because I think it's nice to just sit down and have a conversation about life moving forward.
Yes, it is a good thing to do, though. Better late than never. Yeah. And as in the beginning, I was saying 60 plus, but since you put me in the 60, it's 63.
I said your age.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, I don't care.
It's something to be proud of. Some people don't see 63 as something to be proud of.
Oh, yeah. I don't take life for granted at all because here today, gone today. So I don't take it for granted. And that's why as a single mother, and then if you still do have the other half around, embrace. Try to get together. Not for the couple's sake, but for the children and the grandchildren.
That's where I'm at now.
So, and keep it up. It'll get better. Yeah. And he seems like a good dad, You have him a lot and things, so just don't give up on co-parenting,
Yeah.
Just be positive, stay positive. That's how I look at life, and be transparent. That's
transparent.
Yeah, be transparent. It's like, I don't try to sugarcoat anything. So I am who I am, but I try not to be offensive when I do speak.
Yeah.
It's just my feelings, just like they got their personal opinions. So and we got to learn how to respect one another. Disagreement, we have what they say, and learn how to agree to disagree.
Okay.
So.
Well, amen to that. Agree to disagree. I have learned and mastered that in my life. So, is there any closing remarks you have, or anything you?
I think this is my first time doing something of this nature, and I appreciate you. Although I kind of initiated it, I guess, but I do appreciate you allowing me to come on your podcast. I'm not computer literate, but I appreciate that. And this one thing I want to say that helped me as throughout life, because I saw this verse in the Bible, and when I read it, matter of fact, I got it at home, and it says, "Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid nor dismayed, for the Lord is with you wherever you go." And that's Joshua 1:9. That kept me knowing to stay faithful, that God is with me. Don't be afraid, be of good courage. You got to just believe. And by me having the faith that I have, I'm not a Bible, what you call it? Theologian. I do believe in the word, but, certain scriptures really sticks with me, and that is one, Joshua 1:9. Read it, because you know what? When I was going through the valley, I was not afraid. God was with me.
Amen.
He was with me, so...
Yep, he's with you in the valley and on the mountaintop, and that's one thing I have to say. When I didn't have words and all I had was tears, and sometimes all I had was the fact that I could say the name Jesus.
Yes,
it
hallelujah.
It got me through, so I agree with that. So that's good.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you for joining me on a podcast that you initiated. I'm so glad you can grace us with your presence today.
I have enjoyed it. I mean, I wish I really could have really been in tap with, me as the way I really wanted to come across. But hopefully I was able to uplift, encourage people. Just, we got to be supportive, and please vote. We got to get these votes in. Please vote. And thank you, Star, and I love you. I appreciate you. And I just like to see people get along, encourage, uplift. We got to support one another. That's regardless if they're a stranger or whatever, they come, have a listening ear. But also, God, because God is in the midst of everything.
Yeah.
So, I don't like turning my back on people. I listen, and whatever I could do for a person, I do. I do it from my heart. It's not just to do it for show. No. I feel like people come into your life for a reason. And as a parent, I try to let y'all see that too. Sometimes be careful, but God is in the midst. He's going to protect you.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Doing My Best. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to our page so we can get that good content out on YouTube. We love you so much. Y'all say bye to my mama. I'm sure y'all be seeing her around, and we'll see you next time. Bye.